1, 2, 3 for life.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How you guys doing? This is episode 135. Before I get into that, I said, how are you guys doing? But I didn't ask, how's your week been? And I wanted to let you know that I hope your week has been fantastic. And if it hasn't, I hope this next week will be a complete turnaround and just positive things are coming. I mean that sincerely. This is episode 135. We're calling this episode The Bad Guy. We're calling this bad boy The Bad Guy. Unfortunately, the professional wrestler Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon, recently passed away. You know, I don't talk about professional wrestling here a lot. I don't watch wrestling anymore. It's been I'll see fucking on Bleacher Report, on my Bleacher Report app. No, actually, I don't see anything on there either. I'm not sure how I probably come because I follow Mad Static's Beats, Rhymes, and Body Slams podcast. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't know what was going on in wrestling at all. But so I don't watch. But I used to when I was a young boy. I used to see Razor Ramon on TV with that toothpick, man. He looked so cool with that toothpick. He'd come out and he'd fucking throw that toothpick at you, man. It was so cool. You know, I was a little boy. I would always, if I could, get my hands on a toothpick. I'm walking around with that toothpick in my mouth, and I'm ready to fucking flick that shit at anybody. Like fucking Razor Ramon. To this day, anytime I look at fucking a toothpick, I think about Razor Ramon. I think about Scott Hall. You know what I'm saying? I thought that character was super cool. And he was super cool. You know what I'm saying? Scott Hall was cool. It was a play on, or Razor Ramon was cool. He was a play on Scarface. You know. It just, I didn't even realize that it would hit me so hard, ladies and gentlemen. It hit me harder than I realized it would. Now I'm sitting here with my NWO Wolfpack hoodie on, realizing that it hit me harder than I thought it was going to. I don't watch wrestling anymore. But it doesn't mean that, those motherfuckers I thought were cool when I was a kid, it's not going to make me sad when they die. And definitely, I went on my phone, actually, and all of a sudden, the top notification was a tweet from Sean Waltman. I don't follow Sean Waltman. I didn't even know until that point that this nigga had a Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And it was like a purple notification from Twitter of Sean Waltman saying this is accurate or some shit. And I was like, why the fuck am I getting a Sean? If y'all don't know, or he was X-Pac 6. He was a professional wrestler. He dated former professional wrestler China. If you saw the Surreal Life, where they put the celebrities in the house. And there was that one guy that they were saying used to beat her and they were doing drugs and shit together. That guy with the long hair, that's Sean Waltman. So I don't follow him on anything, but I see this notification and it's him saying it's accurate to tweet that somebody was reporting on saying that they were taking Scott Hall off life support. This phone shit is crazy, because why did it send that to me? You know what I'm saying? Why did it know that I would want to know that Scott Hall wasn't doing well? That's crazy. That's just weird to me, but it happened. All right? And unfortunately, I think Scott Hall passed about the next day. You know? And, you know, since he passed, it was like, all I'm seeing is, like once, like, your favorite celebrity or whoever dies, you start hearing all these, like, random-ass cool stories. It's like, why didn't anybody talk about this while the dude was here? Y'all probably would have appreciated him a little more if these stories were out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, one random thing that I thought was real cool was that whenever they did house shows, like the non-televised shows, where they didn't have to pay for the music that they used, this nigga would come out to Ready or Not by the Fugees. Just certain little stories I would hear. All his Make-A-Wish work. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just hit me harder. I just wanted to say rest in peace to the man Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. If you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at my name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. Anywhere that you guys are listening to this podcast, please go ahead and hit that like button. I'd appreciate it so very much. If you guys would like to buy some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. If you guys are on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. And lastly, if you guys would like to be my patrons, head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Touch on that one more again. Because he deserves the acknowledgement. That's a big fan. That's a big fan. And I can't look at these fucking toothpicks without thinking about Scott Hall. So the wife and I, we used to back in the day pre-COVID. And I say pre-COVID with them fucking quotation marks because the numbers is going up in the UK right now. They're on a rise, all right? It never ended. But niggas love to throw out that post-COVID phrase. But it's, nigga, it never ended. It never ended. I never heard about it ending. All I've heard is numbers going up and down. And niggas just personally feeling like I'm over it. But anywho, pre-COVID, my lovely wife and I, we would often go to the movies, local theater over here, the Oriental. Fucks with the Oriental. It's got that old school vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like what is it? Like a Coliseum or not Coliseum? What is the old school style of fucking seats? Might be Coliseum style. I don't know. It looks cool. It looks real old school. Yeah, it looks pretty fucking cool in there. So I fucks with that theater. And you know, I'm a East Sider nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm a East Sider nigga. And so, you know, I shop local. Shout out to Stone Creek Stone Creek Coffee. Yeah, Stone Creek Coffee. Shout out to Stone Creek. It's probably, you know, I shop local. Anywho, my lovely wife and I, we went to the movies on Thursday. There was there's the new The Batman that came out. I didn't really hear too much fanfare, too much advertisement for it before it was out. All of a sudden, I just started hearing people telling me about it, and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know it was coming out yet. I heard that they were making it like maybe a couple years ago, but then I never heard like a release date. And all of a sudden it's out. So I'm like, all right, let's go check it out. I'm like, it doesn't seem like they put too much promotion into this. So maybe it's not the best movie. Nigga, I was wrong. I'm coming out of the Batman feeling personally that this is the best Batman film that I've seen. I like what they did with Batman. No bullshit ass Playboy niggas kicking it, drinking, kicking it with motherfuckers. Just always out. Like, look at Playboy Bruce Wayne out here kicking it again. Up. Got another supermodel. Look at Bruce Wayne out here just living life. And then somehow in the middle of that, also running the streets, protecting everybody in the same nights. That shit made no sense. You know what makes sense? This fucking nigga here who's broody, sitting in his bat cave, trying to figure some shit out with his fucking one nigga that we've always known him to be with, Alfred, his one ride or die. That made sense to me. I was like, this is the perfect depiction of Batman. Have this nigga all emo in a cave. Who better to be all emo in a cave than this fucking vampire ass nigga? I've never seen, what's that shit, Twilight? I've never seen it. But niggas was hating on this nigga because Twilight, I've never seen it. After seeing the Batman, I'm like, what if Twilight was decent? What if Twilight was decent and we was just hating? We was just hating like, that shit looks lame. What if the shit was decent the whole fucking time? Because whoever that nigga is, I don't know the nigga's name. Robert Pattinson? Paulson? One of these niggas is the Batman. He did pretty good. It was a pretty good depiction, man. It seemed less like a superhero-y type movie. It was more gritty. The twist that they put on the fucking Riddler, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm a 80s baby. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was born in 1989. But and when I was a kid, the Riddler that I saw in movies was Jim Carrey. Super goofy. You know what I'm saying? Like a fucking comic book. Like super goofy. That's what and when I saw that this guy Paul Dano was cast as the Riddler, I was like, he can't pull that role off. He can't do what Jim Carrey just did in 97. Nigga, freeze. I'm like, he can't do what Jim Carrey, and I'm glad he didn't do what that nigga did in 97, because this shit was cold. My wife had, like, mentioned how they flipped the character, because he was, like, posting shit online, building this, like, fringe fan base, fringe followers who were helping him out, like some QAnon shit. My wife saw spotted out the comparisons there. They just, like, made the Riddler, like, just super dark. He's killing people and leaving these fucking riddles. It was fucking dope. It was fucking dope. They had Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Like, did they just put him in a fat suit and put all kinds of prosthetics on him? Because he didn't look anything like Colin Farrell. I was like, it doesn't make any sense to put Colin Farrell in that role. But if that was Colin Farrell in whatever that was, I guess he did a good job. Because he didn't look like this man at all. Didn't look like this man at all. But Paul Dano, man, as the Riddler, man, I thought, like, beforehand, I was like, he can't do the comedy Riddler of Jim Carrey. But the twist that they did on the Riddler, having him super creepy, it was perfect to have somebody like Paul Dano, because Paul Dano plays a phenomenal weirdo. I seen Paul Dano in the movie Prisoners, right? Prisoners was a movie, but I knew off rip that nigga had something to do with it. I ain't even know he was in there, but I knew that nigga was involved. Look at that nigga. He was involved. Also, Paul Dano is in 12 Years a Slave. He sings the catchiest song on that soundtrack. And if you all are unfamiliar with the catchiest song from 12 Years a Slave, it's Run, Nigga, Run, Better Get Away, Run, Nigga, Run. I'm editing it there, all right? I'm editing it. That's the edited version of Paul Dano's classic song, Run, Nigga, Run, from 12 Years a Slave, nigga. So I was like, yo, this is a perfect nigga to play a creepy-ass dude here. He did a phenomenal job. I feel like they gave you more insight onto why the Waynes were murdered. You know, every fucking Batman movie they give you, they're like, I was walking down an alley after seeing a movie with my family, and then some nigga came and killed my parents. And now I'm the Batman. That's literally how every movie, you keep telling me the same fucking story, is that I was leaving this theater and then some, and it's like now they're like, this happened and that happened. There was some wheeling and dealing and they possibly got killed by this nigga for that nigga type shit. I was like, oh, this was some pretty cool shit, okay? They flipped it. The story was dope. I was looking at 3 hours, nigga. It's like the runtime is 2 hours and 58 minutes, nigga. I was like, I ain't finna sit here for that daunting ass 2 hours and 58 minutes, nigga. Go fuck yourself. That's how I feel. When they say a movie is 3 hours long, bro, I'm in my 30s. I don't be trying to be sitting, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Matter of fact, by the end of the movie, there was one guy that was passed out, snoring his ass off. Middle of the theater. And that's what I didn't want to happen, but it couldn't happen for me because the story was too good. The story was too good. It was a really well put together, except for like the whole romance with Batman and Catwoman. It's like, I was looking at that, I was like, well, I know that they usually be flirting, but in this, all I seen was Batman, like, no, it didn't make any sense. All right, they started kissing, and I was like, nigga, they didn't even, like, flirt. I feel like they barely said hello to each other. It was just like they seen each other and just couldn't resist each other. I was like, that shit's weird. That was weird. If any real issue I had, there's one moment in this movie where Alfred gets hurt. Something happens to Alfred. And he ends up in a coma in the hospital. And during the time he's in the coma, fucking Batman, Bruce Wayne, discovers some shit that maybe fucking Alfred hadn't told him the whole truth on the shit. And he's sitting there in the hospital looking at Alfred. Alfred wakes up out of this coma, and this nigga immediately, the second Alfred opened his eyes, he was like, yo, nigga, you lied to me about my parents. I'm like, bro, he don't even know where the fuck he at right now. Give him a minute. Give him a minute. Say hello. Hey, Alfred. You're alive. I'm happy. I'm happy you survived, nigga. Some shit went down. Let me get you a cup of water. No, immediately, hey, nigga, you lied to me. Started interrogating this nigga. The second Alfred woke up, I was like, that's bullshit. I guess they ain't got time. I guess they ain't got time to just, like, go through those little small shit. Niggas don't need to check some shit. You don't need to call the nurse and be like, yo, the nigga woke up. He's awake. Make sure he breathing. Make sure he's breathing right. Make sure the nigga's head is there. You know what I'm saying? He's been in a coma. Make sure everything's working right. Call the people. This nigga started interrogating this nigga immediately. It's a movie, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a great movie at that. I would suggest if you haven't seen The Batman, go ahead and check that bad boy out. I'd probably go see it again. It's really good. I was looking at that 3 hours and I was like, that's daunting. But you don't feel it, man. You really don't feel it. It's a good engaging story. Like a lot of twists, a lot of, oh shit, you over there. I kind of had it figured out personally because I just be like, I don't know. I can see with movies and shit like that for me, I see how they I look at how characters are introduced. To me, how a character introduced tells me how their story is gonna end. Honestly, that's how I look at it. So when I was watching it, I was like, "That's the dude right there." I knew it. I knew it right away. I was like, "This is gonna be the nigga that they looking for," and I knew it right away in my mind. I was like, "There was nothing you could tell me that wasn't the guy." And there was still twists and turns, but then it ended up and it was like that was the guy. It's just ways the things that they introduce people, and then like, man, it's like nothing in these movies is like, it's not just random content. They're not just having random conversations. If this person says something to him that seems fucking small, chances are that's foreshadowing. You know what I'm saying? They're just not putting random conversations in front of you. They're not introducing this person in this way for no reason. So, I don't know. It was easier for me. Like, right away, I kind of picked it out of what was going to happen. Well, not with the Riddler, but because, that's different. If you see the movie, you'll understand what I'm saying. But, yeah. But the Riddler story, everything ties, it's fucking crazy. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It seemed like more like a real hero rather than a bullshit-ass superhero movie, if you will. Speaking of real-life heroes, man, you get Kevin Holland, who once again saved the day. Back in October 2021, he witnessed a carjacking. And he gets in his car, chases the person down, and then, like, gets out of the car and, like, chokes him out and holds them down until the cops come. All right? He gets in his car, chases them down, and holds them down and uses his fucking jujitsu to subdue them until the cops come. And then, last week, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Holland's at a restaurant, and there's a disagreement between some other people at the restaurant, and apparently, like, the story that I think I heard another story, which I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Kevin's story made more sense, and one of the individuals that was in the disagreement pulled out a gun and started shooting. And one of the other restaurant patrons jumped on the dude to turn the gun away from the direction of his family. But as Kevin was saying, as that dude, he was like, good job for that dude, because he pointed the gun away from his family and kept his family safe. But the gun was pointing directly at everyone in our section, my entire family. So, like, he decided, Kevin Holland, to get involved, and he went and got up behind the guy, and they got the weapon out of him and used his jujitsu to, like, subdue this man until the cops came, man. I tell motherfuckers, train jujitsu. It's wild. Kevin Holland is out here saving lives, all right? Multiple times he's using his jujitsu to subdue fucking real-life bad guys. And, shout out to Kevin Holland, man. I don't really have much to say on that, except that that's pretty fucking phenomenal. That he just happens to be there when some shit like that is going down, and then he gets involved. He's the person out here that is the difference. It's fucking crazy. So shout out to Kevin Holland. Shout out to Big Mouth. Recently saw that man fight in Las Vegas. You know, when I was there. So shout out to Kevin Holland, man. It's a good fight. Yeah, we're gonna skip that next one there. Or no, we're not actually. So Conor McGregor. Yeah, I was gonna skip the Conor McGregor subject here because I was like, everybody's gonna talk about Conor, but then maybe I should talk about Conor because everybody's talking about Conor. But Conor McGregor just recently did an interview on St. Patrick's Day where he said that he, in his next fight, Well, he was like, I don't really see myself cutting down to 155, man. I see, it's a terrible Conor, terrible Conor thing, but he's saying he wants to fight Kamaru Usman in his next fight at 175, at 170. He did say 175, actually. We both got it wrong. He accidentally said 175 himself. But, yeah, he said he wants to fight Kamaru Usman for the welterweight championship in his return fight. Dana White, actually, when he was asked about it, said that Conor is coming to Las Vegas this week, I believe he said, and they will meet about it. So he might be fighting Kamaru Usman at some point in the future here in 2022. That's crazy. I don't want to see it. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what'll happen? Maybe Conor knocks him out with one punch. Conor's got the striking, all right? And I believe Usman's not going to go in there. I don't believe so. Usman's not going to go into a fight with Conor McGregor and say, I'm just going to wrestle him. With the way that Usman has been working on his striking, and he's been trying to stand with Jorge, knocked out Jorge, stand with Gilbert, TKO'd Gilbert, stand with Colby, all right, twice. The way he's been fighting, he's not going to go in there with a game plan to grapple Conor McGregor. His game plan is to stand with Conor McGregor. I know you guys are saying, like, why would he do that? Look at how he's been fighting lately. He's falling in love with those hands, and he will stand with Conor McGregor. And I'm not saying he can't beat Conor McGregor in the stand-up, but I'm saying Conor could 1,000% catch Usman and knock this man out. He can knock... He's got that punch of death. You guys know how Usman knocked out Jorge? And I saw a meme the other day. Someone was like, they were making fun of Jorge because they were like, look how he was laughing at Usman right before he got knocked out. Do you know why he was laughing at Usman? I saw it and I was like, I thought Usman was going to get knocked out. All right. He laughed at Usman because he saw what I saw, and when I saw it, I was like, he's going to get knocked out. Because Usman got real, like, excited in a striking exchange and just started throwing these fucking wild-ass, like, overhands. Like, real wild punches, like, from all, like, that got nowhere near Jorge. And I saw it, and I was like, and then right as I guess, Masvidal starts laughing at him because that technique was so sloppy. What if he gets into a fucking war? There we go. What if he gets into a war with Conor? What if he has that confidence in his hands? And he's like, yeah, I want to trade with Conor. I wouldn't advise it. I was wondering what was going on with my camera. My camera was looking weird, and then it was like, nigga, that camera looks like it's about to fall out of that mount. So I just pressed it in, and now I can see myself perfectly. But yeah, I think he's going to strike with Conor if that fight does happen. I think Conor has underrated jiu-jitsu. I know Conor is trying to hate on motherfuckers who use jiu-jitsu and then going in and trying to submit Dustin Poirier. But I think he has underrated jits. You know, I don't know if Usman right away would want to wrestle. I think Conor has the striking acumen to turn Kamaru Usman back into that wrestler. Only thing is that I don't understand about Usman. He gets hurt, right? He's been hurt by he got hurt by Gilbert Burns, knocked down to his knees. And then UFC was like, nah, that's not a knockdown. Bullshit. So he got hit by Burns, knocked down on his fucking... He got knocked down. But he popped back up and it was like nothing happened. All right? He popped back up like nothing happened. Even with Colby will light this man up. Whenever I see this man, like in that first fight, when Colby is just like hitting this man with combinations, just all over him. Yeah, Usman's hitting him with the heavier shots, but like there was points where Colby was like just lighting this man up with combination. Even the second fight, where it's just like, damn, man, how does he just keep coming forward? How does he just keep coming forward? I don't understand it. So that's the one thing there. It's like Conor does have the striking acumen where he can get in and get some clean shots on Usman. I believe so. But what I don't understand is that granite fucking chin of Kamaru Usman. I don't understand it. He just walks through punishment. He doesn't have the best defense. Doesn't have the best head movement. He just walks through shit. I think that fight would be more interesting than a lot of people think. They're like, oh, Kamaru's the champion and he's bigger, and Conor has lost his last few fights. But I'm telling you right now, the smart thing, everybody's like, no, he couldn't wrestle with Khabib. You think, well, he did pretty good in that fight. All right, he did better than a lot of other people. I'll tell you that much. And I'm telling you right now, with the way that Usman is in love with his hands, he stands and he strikes with Conor, and that fight would be much more interesting than we're all saying it's going to be. Or than you all are saying it's going to be. I think it's going to be a really good fight if it happens. This recent documentary I saw, fucking docu-series. It took a long time. It was like fucking 9 hours. 9 hours. You know what I'm saying? It's 9 episodes. Which is 9 fucking hours, this documentary. I can say a docu-series. Or what is it? It was like a TV show reenactment or some shit called Inventing Anna. My point is, I saw niggas right away talking about this shit, and it's like, how the fuck did you watch all this shit, nigga? This is 9 hours of your life. How did you do it so fast? I got shit to do. My nigga. But yo, I'm looking at this shit and I'm saying she got off easy, my nigga. She got off easy. I know niggas in Milwaukee who done a year in jail for just a gram of marijuana. This bitch is going to banks, depositing bullshit ass checks, then going up the street to a different branch, and while that money's pending, withdrawing that money before the fucking shit bounces. And she got what, like 4 to 12? She could possibly get out in 4 years, nigga. 4 years for doing some crazy shit like that, like this fucking fraud. And I know niggas that went to jail for a year for just a gram of weed. I don't even think it was a gram. I'm pretty sure it was half a gram. This girl got off easy. These motherfuckers is talking about how, like, oh, when she gets out, she's gonna be 40 and middle-aged. I was like, man, cry me a fucking river, nigga. She got off easy. This whole time she was in court, niggas is making an Instagram of, oh, look what this bitch is wearing today. And it's like, the judge never once was like, yo, you guys are making a fucking mockery of my courtroom. Get the fuck out of here. Never. Nah. Instead, this girl fucking Anna is like, nah, I ain't wearing this outfit. I ain't going to court. And the judge is like, oh, well, you better tell her if she don't get an outfit on and the time it takes for me to finish my fucking iced coffee, then I'm going to be pissed off. Like, what are you talking about? If I came to your courtroom and was like, yeah, they gave me the wrong Jordans. They brought me the wrong Jordans. I ain't coming until they bring me the right Jordans. You gonna be like, y'all better bring this nigga the right Jordans before I finish this iced coffee. Is that how you gonna stand up for me, Judge? Is that how this is gonna go? I don't think so. I don't think that's how it's gonna go. I thought the whole thing was bullshit. The whole thing was nonsense. I thought her friends were bullshit. It's crazy. This is, you know what I'm saying? Like, her friends are setting her up to get arrested. Saying like, oh, she scammed me out of this money. Nah, man. Like, y'all let her, in your opinion, you thought she was spending thousands upon thousands upon thousands on you. And then the one time that you guys were hanging out and she didn't cover the bill, you're like, nah, she's got to get arrested. She has to pay for this. It's like, yo, and then they even call out in court, like, yo, you were able to benefit off of being around her. You sought her out to benefit off being around her, and you came out in the better. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I was like, there's no redeeming characters in here, man. She's trash. Just like a Joe Exotic, but people fucking idolize people like that all the time. She's fucking trash. She's a trash person, all right? If she was free today and you guys were able to meet someone like this or this actual person, this is not somebody you would ever want to trust, all right? She's a scammer. Even as she's locked up in jail, she's lying to people like, hey, I'm gonna, have my father wire you $10,000 for this and that. It's like, nigga, everybody know you ain't got no bread. Your father is no fucking gangster or whatever the fuck you trying to say. These fucking stories, you're lying to yourself. Your family don't even fuck with you at all. They're telling your lawyer, like, yo, just forget her. Telling the reporters, yo, just forget about her. You know what I'm saying? And she's still sitting in jail lying like, my family's gonna do this, my father's gonna do this, making this crazy shit up. As she's still in jail, she still believes her nonsense. These are people to avoid. Alright? She's sick. She's fucking sick. That's what I got from that. Is that Anna Sorokin, Anna Delvey, she got off fucking easy. As they do in America. She got off easy. Was allowed to be made into a celebrity during the whole thing openly. It's just a circus of a trial. It's crazy. It's interesting to see. If you guys are into it, go ahead and check out Inventing Anna. But I think she's a pretty disgusting person at the end of the day. That whole scamming, man, it's like going to hotels and somehow just like not setting up credit card information, like, and then just charging everything to the room until they realize, yo, she ain't paying for anything. And then they kick her out. She go to another hotel, do the same shit. It's like, fuck, bro. She's dirty, bro. This is not a person to... This is not a person to be idolized. It's a scammer. We just had UFC London. I think I was calling it UFC Vegas 51 last week, but it was UFC London. Return to London. There was some great fucking fights. A lot of finishes. I think it was 9 finishes. Dana White gave $50,000 to each person with a finish. And I was like, that's cool. Give them the $50,000. That's cool. But at the same time, dude, this business is crazy. It's just like Dana's in a good mood, so everybody who got a finish get $50,000. But if Dana's in a bad mood on the next card and like everybody gets a finish, like only the person he likes gets a fucking 50. Like it can literally go like that. Like there should be certain guidelines to where if this happens, you get a bonus. And it's a set bonus for everybody But you just have to reach these certain guidelines. It shouldn't be just like how this guy's feeling today. All right, this guy gets a bonus. Why not? I've seen people convince Dana to give people bonuses in the post-fight press conference. That's nutty. Nutty, all right? That shit makes no sense to me. But niggas got paid, so shout out to y'all. Had a great debut from Muhammad Mokaev. This guy is on the rise at flyweight. I've seen the video with the Weasel he was talking about. He feels like Mokaev is the number one prospect out of any weight class. And he dominated. He got his first round finish. He looked, I mean, it was pretty quick, but like the striking looked great. The setup that he did, which led to the submission, was phenomenal. And the submission was just set up so perfectly. The way he twisted around the lock so that he hid the hands. At that point, there was nothing his opponent could do to get out of there, man. It was pretty fucking amazing. Muhammad Mokaev looked pretty amazing, and he's probably the future champion at flyweight, man. It's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time, man. We saw some great fights. I was at work for most of the card, so I saw like the first 3 fights, and then I had to go to work. Then I took my break to see Arnold Allen versus Dan Hooker. And Arnold Allen, as I said, Arnold Allen is a savage. And he fucking came through with punches in bunches, as I said, and overwhelmed Dan Hooker for a first round TKO. So he calls out Calvin Kattar in his next fight. That's cool. Calvin Kattar's cool and all. But I think he should take it a step further. I think he should call out Max Holloway. That's what I would like to see. I want to see Arnold Allen with his punches and bunches versus Max Holloway, who has the record for most strikes thrown in a UFC fight. That's the fight I want to see. Also, Max Holloway, who has been hit more than anybody in the UFC. I want to see Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen next. That's what I would like to see. I'm not sure what happens with Dan Hooker next. Honestly, maybe retire. I don't see him do I see him being a champion at 155? No. Do I see him being a champion at 145? Absolutely not. Do I see him being a champion at 170? No. I don't know. Well, in the UFC, maybe if he's allowed to go somewhere else, he could potentially be a champion. Maybe at 155 at Bellator, maybe PFL. He could go win some tournaments. Like there's glory to be had outside of the UFC. I don't know if I feel like maybe he's reached his ceiling and is potentially on a decline at this point. But I think he's reached his ceiling in the UFC. So I'm not sure what happens with Hooker after this. Paddy the Baddy gets a submission victory here against Rodrigo Vargas, Kazula Vargas. I honestly do not get the Paddy the Baddy hype. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. They compare this man's hype to like the rise of Conor McGregor, but like the first time I saw Conor, I knew what the fuck I was seeing. The first time I saw Conor, he was fighting Dennis Seaver. And he's like dancing. Just all over the place. Like walking to the octagon, doing these weird movements. Basically that whole touch button in the park shit. He's doing these weird movements. And I'm just like, who is this guy? I knew who Dennis Seaver was, but I didn't know who this Conor guy was. But the crowd was going wild for this dude. And he's just coming down to the octagon with these weird movements. I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? And then, like, Seaver looked pissed off. Seaver, like, flipped him off. And I was like, dude, Seaver's about to knock this dude out. But he pretty much just danced all over Seaver. Whooped Seaver's ass. That's not what I see with Paddy the Baddy. I see Paddy the Baddy continuously ending up in some pretty bad spots, but then coming out with these miraculous comebacks. That's the story of Paddy the Baddy. Like, looking like, oh, shit, oh, it's not, I guess he's not that good. Oh, he won. Oh, That's the reaction for every Patty the Baddie fight. Like, come on, Patty! Oh, shit, he did it. Oh, he did it. Like, if there's anyone I would compare to the rise of Conor, it would probably be like Sean O'Malley. He's got the striking, the style, the flair. Like, that's somebody who's on a Conor-like rise. But definitely not Patty the Baddie. I don't think the performance that I've seen so far matches the hype. It always looks like he's about to get knocked out. And I feel like if he fights Ilia Topuria, who had a great knockout of Jai Herbert in London, and after his knockout, he said, I want that blonde bitch, Patty the Baddie. And after Patty the Baddie's fight, in his post-fight interview, he basically said he does not want to fight Ilia Topuria. So I think if he did fight Ilia Topuria next, he gets knocked out. I think he gets finished convincingly. I think he gets his ass beat by Ilia Topuria. And he does not want that fight. I don't think he can beat. I don't think if Patty the Baddie fought Terrence McKinney, my money's on Terrence McKinney. If Patty the Baddie fought fucking who? I don't know, anybody in that top, like, put him against, like, Diego Ferreira. I think that'd be a pretty decent fight, actually. But Diego's a better striker, and pretty good jiu-jitsu. Pretty good with his jits. I don't know. I just don't see the hype there with Patty that they have here. I don't think the performance matches the hype. But we'll see how things go. I think this hype train will get derailed very soon here. I don't think it's going to last that long. The Darren Till hype train was fun while it lasted. Maybe the Patty the Baddie train will be hype while it lasts. Will be fun while it lasts, but I just don't think he's going to be. I don't see him as a UFC champion. I don't think that's his future. I personally don't see him as that good yet. He could improve in the time before he's put in that position if he ever makes it that far, but I don't think he will. He looks pretty pedestrian to me. In the main event, you had Tom Aspinall fucking walking through Alexander Volkov like a fucking hot knife through butter. Shout out to Geisha MMA. Geisha MMA, I took my break at work, as I was saying, to watch the Arnold Allen Dan Hooker fight, and I saw that Geisha MMA, Geisha Ken, follow Geisha MMA. It's Geisha_MMA on Twitter, Instagram, or possibly Twitter. I know Instagram for a fact, but shout out to Geisha MMA. And Geisha hit me up about like the fights, like, oh, are you watching the fights? And I was like, yo, I'm just about to watch this fight. And then I asked Geisha, like, who do you have in the fucking main event? Geisha said Aspinall by submission in the second round. And I said Aspinall by TKO in the first round. And it turned out to be Aspinall by submission in the first round. But he fucking walked through Volkov, made it look easy. It made it look easier than I've seen anybody make it look easy against Volkov. Like, Cyril Gane didn't make it look that easy against Volkov. I think Aspinall is a problem for everyone. Everyone. I want to see Aspinall versus Gane. Aspinall called out Tai Tuivasa. I mean, that's not a bad fight to break into the top 5. Because I think he would easily dominate Tai Tuivasa. I would love to see Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, though. That's the fight. But I think Aspinall, man, his speed and his grappling might be too much for anybody. I think, except for maybe Francis, who's just so strong, so powerful, can knock him out with one punch. His wrestling is good. He's just so strong. Like, that could be trouble. I think Aspinall beats John Jones. We've seen John Jones slow in his last few fights, and we see how fast Aspinall is with his fucking grappling. Like, I think he'd be too much for pretty much everybody at heavyweight at this point. So Aspinall is a problem. It looks like he might fight Tai Tuivasa next, but I would love to see him fight Ciryl Gane. I think that's the fight to make because he's a problem. And dude, as much as I love Gane, I kind of almost feel like I need to favor Aspinall in this one. I think his jiu-jitsu is better. I think he's faster. I think his boxing is much more technical than Ciryl Gane's kickboxing. Ciryl Gane is a nice, like, cerebral kickboxer. He takes his time. He's patient. But Aspinall is so fucking skilled. He trains with Tyson Fury with his boxing, and he's so skilled with his boxing. He's so fast. I would actually favor Aspinall in that fight, man. I think he's a problem for everybody. So, real curious to see what happens in the heavyweight division. That was phenomenal. Shout out to Paul Craig, who got a victory over Nikita Krylov. Shout out to Molly McCann. Got the spinning elbow knockout. There was a lot of good fights all over this card. Shout out to all the competitors at UFC Vegas. It was a great card. It's an early card. I wish I could have watched it live. I mean, I would prefer not to work any Saturdays, but 'tis what it is. Next week we got UFC Vegas 51, headlined by Curtis Blades versus Chris Daukaus. I'm going with Curtis Blades here. I think the wrestling will be a big factor here. Chris does have his jiu-jitsu, but I think the wrestling and the strength of Curtis Blades, and Blades' striking has gotten better. I mean, and I think with the threat of the takedown and his striking improving as it has, he'll be too much for Daukaus. He'll possibly get a finish in here. So yeah, I'm going Curtis Blades to finish Daukaus in some round. That's my pick here. I don't think Daukaus is going to knock Curtis Blades out, and I don't think he has that. I don't think he has that threat right now coming into this that he might get knocked out by Daukaus. I think he's going to come out there with the confidence that he's going to big brother Daukaus. I think that's what that fight's going to look like to start, and we'll see what happens. Also, you got Joanne Wood, formerly Joanne Calderwood, taking on Alexa Grasso. I got Alexa Grasso in that fight. But Joanne Wood is a tough fight. You know, she's a tough fight out there, but I like the rising prospect in Alexa Grasso in this one. And another fight there's a lot of good fights on this card, but another fight I'm really interested in is Askar Askarov versus Kai Kara-France. That's going to be a really good one there. Dude, I want Kai Kara-France to win that fight, but I'm not sure, you know. I'm not sure if he does, but Askarov is 14-0 with one no contest, or one draw, I believe. One draw. I'm not sure. I would love for Kai to win that fight, but my head is like, Askar's going to win this fight, but I want Kai to win. So I'm not going to make a pick. Not just yet. You'll see it on Saturday on Instagram. You got Matt Brown taking on Brian Barberina. I don't even know if that's his nickname. I could be wrong. But Brian Barberina, that's cool. Ilir Latifi taking on Alexei Oleinik. That's fucking cool. This fight here, Nate Landwehr taking on David Onama. I'm really interested in this fight. Onama is a pretty cool prospect. He just had his finish of Gabriel Benitez back in February. First round TKO, David Onama. And now he's back in a fight against David Landwehr next week, and I'm pretty excited for that one. Also, you got Jennifer Maia taking on Manon Fiorot. Fiorot was supposed to fight Jessica Ai at UFC 272, but then, last minute, Jessica Ai got pulled out of that fight. So this is going to be a pretty good fight, Manon Fiorot versus Jennifer Maia. Rooting for Fiorot. I just like to see some new blood on the rise here. Dude, this card is sexy. You got Neil Magny. This is the prelims that I'm on. Neil Magny versus Max Griffin on the prelim. Then you got Mark DeCasey versus Borshev versus Borshev. Vyacheslav Borshev. That's going to be an interesting fight. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Gutierrez taking on Dana Bakriel. That's a good fight. These are the prelims, ladies and gentlemen. Mateus Nicolau versus David Dvork. There's some interesting fights here. What was the original? Yeah, the original headline for this card was Jan Blachowicz and Alexander Rakic. And now we are getting Curtis Blades versus Chris Daukaus. Heavyweight is moving, and then we will be off, ladies and gentlemen. There will be no UFC for the week after that. I'm looking to hopefully get prediction video together, probably with Geisha, if I could get Andre and maybe my boy Bradley. I actually never met Bradley, but we talked through Facebook, all about MMA. He's a videographer. I got a crew in mind that I'd like to get together to talk about some MMA things. So that's what I'm looking to do here in the time that we're off, so we can get a UFC 273 prediction video going. Yeah, that's the plan here. But if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. And anywhere that you guys are listening to this podcast, if you made it this far, I'd appreciate it so much if you hit that like button. And I thank you kindly. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow this podcast at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys can purchase some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, you guys can be my patrons by heading on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. And this has been episode 135, The Bad Guy. As I said, rest in peace to Scott Hall, a.k.a. The Bad Guy. If I didn't mention that there, quote for, he made the bad guys cool. Quote from Scott Hall is, "Bad times don't last, but the bad guys do." This is episode 135, The Bad Guy. Rest in peace to Scott Hall. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make me chant down Vatican now.